So I'm on page 427. All right. All right, any of them just off the top of the bat that you want to go over?
36.
Okay. Let's go, I will do number 36 for sure, but let's do some of the ones in that top section first. Let's review some.
Yes. Number 27.
27, okay. All right. All right, I'm gonna let you walk it through, okay? So 6x squared plus xy squared is 24x plus 4y squared. Okay, you walk me through it. What do you do?
Factor out anything that's common between them.
Okay, is there anything that's common between all four of them?
No, not all four.
Not for this one, not for all four, yeah. But that is the first thing you ask yourself, yes. Okay. Then what do I do next?
Separate them into the two.
Okay, regroup them together. Which ones do you want to group together?
6x squared and 24x.
Sure. All right, so those two are grouped together. All right, what else?
Xy squared and 4y squared.
Very good. Okay, what do you do next?
See if you can factor anything out of the individual.
And can you?
Yes, you can factor 6x out of the first one.
Good.
And then y squared.
Okay, what's next?
You would put them, I can't think of the word.
Well, what are we doing when we pull out or divide out a common monomial or a common term? What's that called?
Factoring it out.
Factoring. Okay. So tell me, what would this next line be then? How do I factor?
6x and then the parentheses 1 plus, I don't know if that's right.
Well, 6 divided by 6 is 1.
Oh, x.
Okay, there we go. Good.
X plus 4.
Good.
Parentheses. Oh, sorry. Then the next one would be y squared.
What's the sign in between them?
Oh, plus.
Mm-hmm.
And then y squared x, or parentheses, x plus 4.
Very good. All right, anything else I can do?
Could you factor out the x plus 4?
Is an x plus 4 in each one of these terms? It is.
Yes.
So yes.
And then it would be x plus 4 parentheses 6x plus 2, or not plus 2, 6x plus y squared.
Anything else I can do? Can I factor this x plus 4 anymore? Can I factor this 6x plus y squared anymore?
No.
Very good. You got it. All right. Harley, give me a problem from the top exercises, maybe one that you were unsure about. Let's do it.
Um, $32.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, that's not.
You want to do that one, or did you get that one right?
Actually, yeah, that one.
We already did that one.
Um, 31.
Okay. All right, Harley, walk me through this. What do we do?
Divide by 5.
Okay, when we divide everything by 5, what's that called? What are we doing with that 5?
Factor.
Okay, what's the next line?
5 times y cubed minus 3y squared minus y plus 3.
Good. What's next?
Group it.
Okay, which ones do you want to group together?
5 times y cubed minus 3y squared and negative y plus 3.
All right, so when you regroup them, so we got to keep them inside this bracket here. What sign is going to go in the middle?
Subtraction.
Well, if I do minus y plus 3, if I were to distribute that negative, that would be correct for the negative y, but if I distribute it to the 3, that makes it a negative 3 now, which is not a negative 3 up there. So, gotta change it just a little bit. So when we regroup them, we're gonna put these together plus these together, so negative y plus 3. So be careful on your negatives there. And maybe that is what you already wrote and just didn't say it like that. Does that make sense though? Why we do that? Why we have to add these terms together?
Yes.
All right. What can I do? Or I should say, what should I do next?
Divide by y squared.
Or factor out a y squared here.
Oh, yeah.
What about here? Anything?
No.
Well, this one's tricky. Remember, whenever we have a negative sign, we usually want to factor a negative out. So how do I factor a negative out? Because that's the only thing that's common between those two. I can't just say, oh, factor a negative out. What would the value be with that negative?
1.
There you go. Factor out a negative 1. Okay, what's my next line going to be?
5 times y minus 3.
What did you pull out? So the y squared doesn't just cancel out, it gets factored out. So you gotta pull the y squared out, and then you're left with y minus 3. Okay, what did you factor out over here?
-1.
There you go. And what are you left with?
4 plus 4 minus 3.
Sorry, that's a negative y over negative 1.
Oh. Positive y
There you go.
minus 3.
Notice because I factored out a negative 1 here, I now have a common term right there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had. I would have had negative y plus 3, and I would have had y minus 3. So that's why we factor out the negative 1 there. Okay, what else can I do? What's my
Factor y minus 3.
Okay, so what's the next line?
Y
Oh,
minus.
don't forget about that guy. So 5 times y minus 3. All right, what else?
-1.
So I factor out a y minus 3. What do I have left in this first term?
Y squared.
There we go. And here,
-1.
So now I have 5 times y minus 3 times y squared minus 1. Anything else I can do?
No.
You can't factor y minus 3, but check out this y squared minus 1. Does that look familiar? That's one of our special factoring binomials. This is the difference, subtraction right there. It's got to have a subtraction sign. The difference of two perfect squares. Because Harley, ask yourself, can you take the square root of y squared?
Yes.
Can you take the square root of 1?
Yes.
So can you factor that? Yes, you can. Remember, this is in the form a squared, a number squared, minus b squared, another number squared. And that will get you a minus b, a plus b. So what will y squared minus 1 factor to?
Y minus 3.
Well, we're doing y squared minus 1. This is in the form a squared minus b squared. So this is what's going to factor. We'll go ahead and put y minus 3 and 5 over here because we can't factor those anymore. So what's y squared minus 1 factor to?
Y minus 1.
Okay, there's the first one. So there's your a minus b, but it's also got to be a plus b.
Y plus 1.
There you go. And that is factoring completely. So after you finish factoring, whatever you get your final answer to be, ask yourself, is there anything else that I can factor? All right, let's go to number 36. So y plus 4 is a factor of 3x y squared plus 18xy plus 24x minus y squared minus 6y minus 8. Oof, that's a long one, isn't it? All Okay, so that one is a factor of that one. So what is the answer there? Well, there's nothing I can pull out of all of those terms. So let's just divide. Let's see what we get. Alrighty. So 3xy squared divided by y. What times 3xy squared, or excuse me, what times y will get me 3xy squared? Well, 3xy, right? So 3xy times y, that's 3xy squared. 3xy times 4 is 12xy. Notice when I've done that, my terms have lined up. So 3xy squared minus itself is just 0. I don't need to put that there. 18xy and 12xy. These are like terms, so I can subtract like terms. And I get 6xy. Bring down my plus 24x. So now 6xy divided by y. So what times y will get me 6xy? 6x. 6x times y is 6xy. 6x times 4, that's 24x. Subtract those, I get a remainder of 0. Bring down your negative y squared. So we've got negative y squared, 0 minus negative y squared. All right, well, let's see here. So what times y will get you 0? Well, that's just 0. So 0 times y is 0. 0 times 4 is 0. Subtract these. So 0 minus 0 is 0. Negative y squared minus 0, well, that's just negative y squared. Let's bring down our negative 6y. Negative y squared divided by y. What times y will get you negative y squared? Well, that's negative y. Negative y times y is negative y squared. Negative y times 4, that's negative 4y. Subtract these. I'm going to bring it up here. So negative y squared plus y squared is 0. Negative 6y minus a minus, that's plus. Negative 6 plus 4, that's negative 2y is my remainder. And then I got to bring down my negative 8. So I'm just bringing this. So that's negative 2y, just bringing it right up here. So here we go. Negative 2y divided by y. That's negative 2. Negative 2 times y is negative 2y. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Subtract those. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Negative 8 plus 8 is 0. So here is your final answer. So for that was number 36, all you had to do was divide like normal, even though you had all these weird variables that didn't really line up. Just make sure that they were in descending order. Start with the most variables, and then go from there. Right, and then you had number 38. Is that right, Sierra? Did you have number 38?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Sierra, why don't you walk number 38 through with me? X squared plus 2xy plus y squared plus 2x. All right, why don't you walk this one through me? What'd you do first?
Oh no, this one was confusing for me a little, because like there was no like terms.
Well, there's not initially a factor you can factor out right now. So what do we do if there's nothing together and it's not a trinomial? What do we have to do?
like group it.
Okay.
Group it.
So which one do you think we should group?
Like the first 3 terms.
Yes. Yes. Why would it be beneficial to group these 3 terms together? And then we'll get to these ones. We actually want to group those together, and then we'll just leave one by itself. So let's talk about this one right here. What do you see about this trinomial right here?
They all, I guess, have variables. I don't know.
Okay, they do. They don't all have this. They don't all have one of the same variables though, so I can't factor out a common one. But remember, look at that first term and the last term. Are those perfect squares?
Yes.
So this has a possibility of being a perfect square trinomial. Remember, if you multiply the first term times the last term and take the square root of that, what's the square root of x squared times y squared?
X and y.
And then if I multiply that by 2, if that is the same as this middle term, then this is a perfect square trinomial, and I can factor it. Remember, this is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. I can factor it like a plus b. So what would this term right here factor to?
X plus y.
There you go. Here's my x squared represents a squared, but I just want a. Y squared represents b squared, but I just want b, so I have to take the square root of both of those. So x squared plus 2xy plus y squared factored is just x plus y squared. All right, so let me bring that up here. So this factored is x plus y squared. All right, now I went ahead and I grouped these two together, and I just left one by itself. So what can I factor out of here, Sierra?
A 2.
So this is going to be x plus y squared plus, what's this going to be?
2 times x plus y.
All right, and what else do I have?
Plus 1.
Plus 1. Okay, anything else I can do?
I don't think so, no.
This one's tricky. Notice what we did up here for x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. We asked ourselves, is this a perfect square trinomial? If it is, the first term and the last term are going to be perfect squares. Can you take the square root of x plus y squared and the square root of 1? What's the square root of x plus y squared?
X plus y.
There you go, and the square root of 1 is 1. So if you can take the square root of this and take the square root of this, if they're perfect squares, then you can multiply these together. So x plus 1 times 1, that's just x plus y. Multiply that by 2, that's 2 times x plus y. If that is your middle term, then this is a perfect square trinomial. And you can factor it just like we did the previous one, x squared plus 2xy plus y squared. So this one was tricky. So therefore this whole thing, x plus y, that is represented as your a squared. This is your 2ab, and this is your b squared. So what would this look like if I want this in the form a squared, or excuse me, a plus b squared. So this is what I want my answer to look like. What would this be right here?
X.
Not just x.
X, Y.
X plus y. Because x plus y squared, that's equal to a squared. So if I just want a, I have to take the square root of it. So a would be x plus y. B is easy, b is 1. So therefore, this is my final answer. X plus y plus 1, and that whole thing squared. Ooh, that one made you think. All right, here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the book for the chapter, excuse me. I'm going to let you check your answers real quick and then ask me any other questions that you have on 10.5. All right. Here you go. Go ahead and make sure you have all those answers there. And give me a thumbs up or tell me that you're done. I'll give you about 2 minutes. Almost done?
Almost done.
Okay. How come y'all don't like showing me your faces anymore?
Well, I do it because I don't know. I'll turn on my camera.
Huh? Are y'all not ready for the day? Is that why?
Yeah, I have normally just woken up and don't look the greatest.
I mean, it's okay. You don't have to show me. Show me your face. I like seeing your faces. I don't care. I woke up and one of my eyes was partially swollen shut, so it happens. Allergy season, my friends. All right. Any questions? One that you missed? Because you do have a quiz today over 10.5. So anything that you're not getting, you're not grasping, ask me now.
This number 23.
Okay.
I'm confused with that one.
Oops. We'll do that one real quick. Oops. pen just stopped working. Oh, there it goes. That was weird. Sorry for the delay. All right. Katie, what's the first thing you ask yourself?
Is there anything we can factor out?
And is there?
No, not in all of them.
No, not in all of them. Good answer. This is not a trinomial. It's a polynomial. So what do we have to do next when it's 4 terms?
Regroup them.
Okay, which ones do you want to group together? This one's nice because we've got all plus signs.
Yes. WY and XY.
Okay. Which would leave you with
WZ and XZ.
Good. Okay. Anything I can factor out of here?
Y.
What about here?
Z.
Could you have factored these together and these together? Well, sure. Doesn't matter which ones you factor together as long as you want to factor ones together that have common terms. All right, so what's the next line going to look like, Katie?
Y multiplied by W plus X.
Good.
And then plus Z
Mm-hmm.
divided by W plus X.
Okay. Anything else?
You could divide out the W plus X.
Okay, so what's that going to look like?
W plus X multiplied by Y plus Z.
There you go. Anything else I can factor out? Nope. Nothing else. Okay. Anything else before I give you your assignment? Any other problems? So again, you'll have your assignment, you'll have a quiz as well too.
26.
Okay. All right, Harley, what's the first thing I asked myself?
If you can factor anything out?
And can you? Can you factor something out of all the terms? Nope, not out of all of them. Just like I told Katie, this is not a trinomial. This is a 4-term polynomial. So I can't just factor this right away. What do I have to do?
Take the square. No.
If it's 4 terms, I can't go straight to just factoring stuff. What do I have to do? I have to
Right, the regroup.
Yes, I have to regroup them. Okay, so which one should I group together?
X squared and minus 2x.
Okay, I want to put these together, which would leave me with negative 3xy and 6y together. Okay, so write it out for me. What's it going to look like? Parentheses and all.
Parentheses x squared minus 2x. Parentheses minus 3xy plus 6y. Parentheses.
Okay, where's the other parentheses?
Before the negative.
Okay, yes, because we want to put negative 3xy plus 6y. But if I have just parentheses right here, that means that, oh, that's two binomials, and I'm multiplying them together. So I would, if I were to check this, I would FOIL it. Multiply your first times, multiply your outside terms, inside terms, and then your last terms. But if I were to do that, that's not going to get me this original polynomial up here. So what do I need to put in between those parentheses right there? What am I
addition.
What am I doing with all of these? I'm adding them all together. So this, putting a plus sign in between them, this will equal this whole polynomial up here, x squared minus 2x. If I were to distribute that positive times a negative, well, that's negative 3x. The positive times a positive, that's 6y. So again, got to have that plus sign in between, okay? So I've regrouped them. What do I do next?
Factor out x.
Okay, so if I factor out an x, pull out an x, what am I left with?
X minus 2.
There we go. Plus,
And
what do I pull out here?
then negative 3y.
Okay, so I pulled out a negative 3y. So that plus times a minus is going to be minus. So now I've got a negative 3y here. What am I left with?
Negative 2y. No, just negative. Oh.
I divided out a negative 3xy. Or excuse me, a negative 3y. So a negative
1.
There you 1 what?
1 x.
There we go. I had an x left in there. All right, I divided out a negative 3y here. So what am I left with inside?
Minus 2.
Here's a trick. For most of these problems that we're going to do, you're going to be able to factor something else that's common. So if you don't get the same inside term, check your work to see if you did something wrong. Because a lot of times, I'm not saying every time, but a lot of times you probably did something wrong because, Harley, what can I do now?
Divide by x minus 2.
So I can factor out an x minus 2 from both of these terms. So what am I left with?
X minus 3y.
There we go. And then you look at your final answer too and say, okay, can I factor this anymore? Nope, not anymore. All right, so here's your assignment. You've got quiz number 3. It's over 10.5. And then you have the chapter 10 review. That's on page 420. Numbers 2 to 44, the even. All right, 2 through 44, the even.